Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
If it's true that happiness is a warm blanket, then our next guest has helped provide happiness to countless ill and traumatized children across the country. Here to share her moving story is Patty Gregory, director of Project Linus. And yes, it is named after the Charlie Brown character. That's next on Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu. All Grown Up.
Seth Kennedy here to introduce today's guest, Patty Gregory, whose Project Linus provides blankets to children who need the warmth and security they provide. Karolyn and Dr. Chris, they're here to talk with her now. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Karolyn and Chris, over to you.
Patty Gregory, you are the president of Project Linus. I'm sure all of our listeners are familiar with Linus and his blanket. I'm talking about Snoopy and Charlie Brown. This is Linus with his blanket, and he's comfortable. And you provide a service for so many children who are needy and who have been traumatized or who are suffering from diseases or some illnesses. It's just a wonderful avenue that you've chosen to be a part of. So would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Project Linus is a national nonprofit. We started it's almost 30 years ago now, on Christmas Eve, actually. Our founder saw a Pride magazine about a young girl who was undergoing cancer treatments, and she took her blanket with her to all of her treatments. Karen thought, hey, I can do that, being a crocheter. But Laura is healthy and well and is an adult now.
That's beautiful. Does she still have her blanket?
She does. Yeah. Kind of started from there, and it just bloomed. It went all the way across the country. And actually, we've had other countries that have adopted our program. They're not affiliated with us, but they've copied what we've done and started it in their own countries.
And you have chapters in all 50 states?
Yes, we do. And we have 310 chapters right now.
Well, they're all volunteers, aren't they?
The coordinators are volunteers. The people who make the blankets are volunteers. Yes.
And you have the cutest name for these volunteers.
They are blanketeers.
Yeah, that is the cutest.
That's really clever.
You've had over 10 million blankets created and distributed throughout the United States. That is quite an undertaking.
It's a lot of blankets, and we do about 250,000 per quarter now, is about what that comes out to be. It changes, it fluctuates. During COVID, it was a little bit fewer just because most of the hospitals weren't taking the blankets, but now we're back up around 250 per quarter. 250,000, that is, per quarter.
You have a beautiful song, Covered in Love.
Yes.
And it just kind of tells what everybody has done. And I think it's marvelous that this fellow Mark Miller of the Swayer Brown Band gifted this to you and sharing it with us today.
A thread of hope is a perfect place to start. You can mend a wounded heart, a thread of hope, a stitch of faith, sews the pieces that were torn, in the blankets that are worn, a stitch of faith. And if we all believe, then we all can be covered in love, wrapped up in hope, safe from the fear, never alone. This world has enough for everyone to be covered in love.
Covered in love, wrapped up in hope.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow.
And so our volunteers make blankets for kids they never see, they never know. We do get a few thank you cards here and there, but they're few and far between because it's totally anonymous. We take the blankets places and we don't know who they go to. We just know that the facilities that we take them to deliver them to children in need. So
How do you identify what a place would be to donate?
with the hospitals, we usually contact either the head nursing of, like, say, an ER, or if it's like a children's hospital, we contact their volunteer services. Word of mouth is a big thing. We now have facilities that contact us. And then during COVID, the hospitals weren't taking so many. So we started working a little bit harder on the social services end of it. And now we're running about 45, 50, and then the other 5% are usually like emergencies kind of things.
So these blankets, when I think of different types of materials, different designs, and can you give us an idea of like how big the blankets are? Or?
We always tell people to contact their local chapter to make sure that that is a size that they need. Kind of just a round ballpark figure is somewhere between 36 by 36 up through twin. It just depends on the facility that we service, and the blankets can be knit, crochet, they could be quilts, they can be fleece blankets. Some chapters take double fleece. Some chapters take single fleece. Again, it's totally based on what the facility wants.
Is there like a central location, or does it really depend on the facility?
So like on our website, there's a place that says find a chapter, and you click on that, and then you click on your state, and it gives you a complete listing of every chapter in your state. We go by county. You contact that local coordinator, and they have drop-off points where you can drop off blankets at.
You have a general idea of how many you donate a month?
It's about 250,000 a quarter, so that's every 3 months.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how many exactly per month. My girls all report quarterly.
So this is for the whole United States?
This is for the whole United States, yes. Now, in the Kansas City chapter, which I also run that, we do about 14,000 a year. In October, November, December, we do about between 5,000 and 7,000 in that quarter. But that's because a lot of the social services places are gearing up for winter, and they want blankets for kids who don't have blankets in the wintertime. We do larger amount in that time of year than we do the rest of the year. Otherwise, it's about 1,200 per quarter in the Kansas City metropolitan area.
You know, that's a lot of blankets.
It is. It is.
Where do you get your fabrics?
Some people give us some stuff. Mostly it comes from different fabric stores, your local quilt shops. Yarn comes from all of those places that sell yarn. Some places only have like Walmart, someplace like that. We do a lot of mail order, actually. There's companies that we can actually order from. So we'll get stuff, and there's a place called Marshall's Dry Goods in Arkansas that we order from pretty regularly. If you think about the population of the United States, we're barely scraping the surface. And unfortunately, the need in the social service realm has grown so drastically in the last few years. Is likely from the appearance of the economy continue to grow. Just because we help children who live, below poverty line. I have one group that I help that's 15% below poverty line. They ask for a certain amount of blankets every year, and I can't get them enough. I don't have them. I don't physically have them. We can't make them fast enough. So we need people to make blankets. We need people who can help finance the materials that it takes to make blankets. We need people to help us deliver. We need people to, be what we call our runners, those who can pick up blankets from designated drop-off points and get them back to where they need to be, because we put a label on every one of our blankets.
Oh.
Each of our blankets get a label, then they go back out to the facilities. So we need all kinds of help.
Is there any address or any kind of a website or anything that some people, if feel the desire to donate, would be able to reach you?
It's projectlinus.org. So www.projectlinus.org. You can actually make financial donations on that website. You can find your local chapter. And if you're looking to volunteer to make blankets, you want to go and contact your local chapter and ask them how you can help.
Give us that website again.
It's projectlinus.org. I get phone calls from adults who have finally put it all together of where this blanket came from that mysteriously showed up in their hospital room or, wherever they got it. And they've contacted me and told me how much that blanket meant to them and how they could take that blanket with them sometimes when their parents couldn't go with them to different tests and things like that. Some of the stories they will bring you to tears. It's pretty overwhelming at times to have to read some of those stories.
Well, a lot of times when children or people go to the hospital, there's an untold story there behind why they're there that's not really explored. And so they're on an emotional level, the tactile level, there's something very special about having a gift from an anonymous donor who is helping them in some way through that journey.
It's like a comfort. It's also like a distraction, something to hang on to focus on besides what's happening in the background.
Can you share with us some of the different projects and host the different events that you do, the MAMD and Scrappy Sewing with Patty?
Yeah, we have Scrappy Sewing with Patty that happens online through Zoom calls. Kind of started around just shortly after COVID when we were all bored out of our minds and had been in our houses for so long and we couldn't see humans. And so Zoom came around. And so we started holding monthly Zoom meetings. We just had one this week. And I'm the Patty that they sew with. And so they sew with Scrappy Sewing with Patty. And we learn different ways to take our scrap fabric and make blankets for kids. And we test out different patterns and try different things. The mystery challenge has been kind of put on the shelf for right now, but we had that every year. We have a knit and crochet along. Every February, we have National Make a Blanket Day. And then in the fall, we participate in Make a Difference Day, which happens in October every year, where our volunteers get together and make blankets. And then our chapters also some of them have monthly meetings, some of them have weekly meetings, some of them mine are biannual because my chapter is so large that I can't imagine putting together a blanket day for every month, but we do have them twice a year. And so there's just lots of opportunities to get together. And our goal is to not only provide children with blankets, but we're also providing adults and children, for that matter, a place to volunteer and give back to their community. So that's part of our mission, is to provide a fun service activity for people to give back to their communities.
Yeah, I think that is so important. The whole idea of volunteering in some communities, it's very strong and robust. Whereas I think in some areas, it's not. I don't think that any community could really effectively take care of the needs of others without, a strong volunteer core. What you're doing is it's kind of also probably these new blanketeers that come on board. Maybe they've never volunteered before, and it gives them a sense of purpose as well, a sense of being, doing something that's beyond themselves.
And it's kind of emotional for me, but I have to tell you that we become a great big huge family. Some of these coordinators I have known for over 25 years, and they're some of my dearest friends, and they live all over the country, and I only see them, once or twice in a couple of years' time. But we stay in touch, and we just become this great big family. And so any new people coming into those smaller groups, they get to know each other, and it just becomes a whole different community.
Great service you're giving to the people who make these as well as the children who receive them.
I think it gives the adults a focus outside of whatever's going on in their life. It gives them a place to focus and feel good about what they're doing. And then for those children who, for whatever situation that they're in, and quite frankly, some of them are really scary, that blanket then provides them with comfort. So it's like a twofold mission. And that's, I think, the one thing I appreciated about it the most.
On some levels, the idea of giving a blanket, reaches that person in a way that a hug doesn't even do. Because sometimes people are not ready for that, where they're too sick. But that blanket can just be there, and they don't have to respond or do anything. They just need to it brings them comfort.
Yeah. And I think one of the most horrific stories that I ever heard was of a young girl who got a blanket. She didn't want anybody to touch her. She clung to that blanket, and she said that blanket helped her through everything that she was going through.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Are you wondering whether to sell or donate the car you no longer need or want? Consider that. Donating it to a legitimate, legally recognized nonprofit organization, not only will you receive a tax deduction, but you'll be contributing to a worthy cause. Finding a worthy nonprofit organization can be time-consuming and even a bit stressful. I'm here to present to you one of the most amazing, legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organizations in the world. The United Breast Cancer Foundation. The UBCF provides screenings, treatments, aftercare services, educational materials, as well as patient and family assistance. We ask that you help in that mission by donating your unwanted or unused vehicle to the UBCF. Simply call 888-842-5505. The process is fast and easy. Call 888-842-5505. 888-842-5505. Help us in our mission and get a tax deduction. Call 888-842-5505. Thank you for your support.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Join Zuzu's network today at ZuzuNetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at ZuzuNetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
And she had been kidnapped and trafficked for her to have that blanket to hold on during that time that she was getting help. She said it just changed everything for her.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It must be very gratifying to know that your group touches so many lives in such a positive way.
I have a passion for this, and I think that all of my volunteers, my coordinators, they're volunteers. They have to have a passion for this in order to do the work that's involved, because you've got to label every single blanket that comes in, and you've got to bag them, and you've got to find a place to take them. And it's a lot of work. And then they have to report back to us what they did quarterly. So you have to have a passion for this. And I think it's real easy for us to get excited about what we're doing, because it is uncomplicated, but yet it's complicated because there's so many aspects to it. But when it comes right down to it, it's about giving back to children that need that comfort.
Yeah, they're defenseless
Mm-hmm.
in many regards. That is really heartwarming, to hear that. When I think of making blankets, I think of these huge sewing machines. To be able to sew through all the thick cloth. Is there any special equipment that's needed?
It's funny that you would ask me that, because I have actually gone and done blanket days with groups of men who look at me and go, "We can't do this. We don't sew. We don't crochet. We don't even know what yarn is, kind of thing." And I say, "No, but you can make me a fleece blanket." And they're like, "No, we don't know how." And I'm like, "Do you know how to tie your shoes?" And they say, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Well, then you can do this. Let me show you." And so we take a piece of fleece and we cut fringe, and they tie knots in the fringe, and voila, they've made a Project Linus blanket.
Well, that means anybody can.
That helps
Anybody.
on any levels, because they feel good about what they're doing, and
Absolutely.
it goes to the right places, and that's wonderful.
And I've actually had men that liked it so much that they would go home and get their family involved, and they would come back at the holidays with, bags of fleece blankets, and they'd say, "My family and I decided that Thanksgiving afternoon we were going to make some blankets for you," or, that we were going to do it during our Christmas holiday or something like that. So yeah, it's really wonderful.
What a great thing for a family to sit around and do on a couple of days or a couple of nights. To make this during the Christmas season. That would be a great tradition to start in a lot of homes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this one guy, and the reason I say it, this one man, he was funny because he said that he felt that it was important that his family do this on the afternoon after they had their Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm thinking, well, I would be asleep. But he said that they all sat around and they thought about what they were thankful for, and made these blankets knowing that they were going to give them to somebody who would be thankful for the blanket. I just thought that was a wonderful thing to start for your family, a tradition for your family. So
often in a lot of children in particular, I think that grow up, what presents are there for me? What is under the tree? It's about me. I think that the idea of giving them a purpose, giving to someone that's, anonymous, but someone that's in need, you can give them a sense of purpose, and also make them feel maybe good about themselves, that they're making, helping someone's life a little bit brighter. And so when you were talking about, can you tie your shoe? I'm thinking, when did I learn how to tie my shoe?
Probably kindergarten.
Yeah.
And we do have kindergartners do this. Yeah, absolutely.
So once you learn how to tie your shoe, the next step is to make a blanket.
We have a lot of people that will make them because they're trying to teach their children to give back to their communities. Yeah. It's important to do that, especially nowadays when, kids are so involved in their little machines and all of their gaming. And I've seen so many people walking, looking down at their phone and tapping away on their phones, and they're not engaged. And so I think it's important that we teach our children, starting at a young age, to give back to their communities.
Exactly. It's troublesome to see how we have become taken over by technology. And I think starting children off at an early age is also a good idea too.
Yeah, I have grandsons that have done this since they were itty bitty. I have pictures of them sitting, on top of bags of blankets and stuff like that. And one is in college and one is in high school, and they think that that's the normal thing to do, that's part of your volunteer service.
I think people would like to know that you have actually created 10 million blankets.
Yes.
Across the United States.
Yes.
I think that's amazing.
10 million and counting. I can remember when we hit 1 million. And I remember us saying at the time, this is so great and this is so wonderful, but at the same time, it's so sad. It's so sad that we had to have 10 million blankets, but at the same time, it's so great that we were able to do that.
So Patty, how did you get involved in this?
I became a coordinator 25 years ago for the Kansas City metropolitan area. I started out the year before that as like a co-coordinator. There was a girl on the Kansas side and one on the Missouri side. And the girl on the Kansas side said that she was going to be moving. And so would I just take the whole thing? So I became the coordinator for the metropolitan area. But the reason I became the coordinator for the metropolitan area was because of a tragedy that happened in our family. And that was that we lost my 6-year-old niece to brain cancer. She had a type of brain cancer that only children get, and it is incurable to this day. There's nothing they can do for them. They do live a little bit longer now than they used to. They still can't cure this type of cancer. And she only lived 2 months from diagnosis to death. I had to find something to do to give back to all those other kids that I saw in the cancer wards and stuff like that. And I saw a magazine thing that there was going to be a lady talk about it on a quilting show on cable TV. And so she was on there talking about Project Linus. And I thought, I can do this. I've been sewing since I was a kid, so I can do this. And I contacted them and they said, sure, you can join us. I accepted the position of the president and CEO of Project Linus. And so now I run the national headquarters as well as this Kansas City chapter.
That's an incredible thing. My goodness.
It keeps me very busy. Somebody said, what do you do for fun outside of this? And I said, what do you mean outside of this? This is what I do. I do this all day long in the office, and then I go home at night and I run the Kansas City chapter. So, yeah.
I admire your ability to be able to do this and your courage to be doing this all these years and to find volunteers. And working with people is, I'm sure, a challenge in a lot of ways, even volunteers.
It can be. But you know what? This is my passion. It is what I need to be doing. Most people can't say that they love to go to work every day. I can say that. I love to go to work every day. And they have said, well, when are you going to retire? And I say, well, I don't know. Probably never.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is an important announcement for anyone who wants health insurance, even if you missed the deadline. Right now, you can get the health insurance you and your family need from top insurance providers, even if you have pre-existing conditions or no insurance at all. The Plus Benefits Health Insurance toll-free number has been extended to help anyone who wants health insurance coverage now, or if you need a better plan or a lower price. Call Plus Benefits Health Insurance now at 800-332-1993. The call is 100% free and the help is real. Call 800-332-1993. That's 800-332-1993.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-288-7088, 888-288-7088. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, NC. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult your financial professional before making an investment decision.
I love going to work every day. Do I take a day off here and there? Absolutely. But I love to go to work every day. I don't have to have an alarm. I just know I get up, I come to work, and I work until I'm done, and then I go home and I start working on, last night I went home and sewed for several hours and made some Project Linus blankets. So I have a very patient husband.
That's a good thing too.
Yes, absolutely. He's a big part of it as well. Yep.
I would think you would qualify to be an angel among us, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't think of it that way. I just think about I'm doing my job, and that's, that's what I do, and that's what I was supposed to do. I just feel that with all my heart. This is what I was supposed to do my whole life, and it's been a very fast 8 years. It's really been a fast 25 years. It really has. And so I'm just ready to keep going. We just keep thinking up new stuff and ways to encourage our volunteers, and yeah, we just have a good time. I want to make it fun for them as well as, and fulfilling, but also fun and enjoyable. I want to feel like it's work.
Sure,
Right,
sure.
right.
Yeah.
What better moniker than being a blanketeer?
That's absolutely right. It's a
Wow.
fun time. In June, we're going to have our retreat, and we'll have 100 coordinators coming in from all over the U.S. I have to limit it to 100 because of space, and we actually have a little bit of a waiting list, but we have 100 coordinators come in every 2 years, and we have a party. I mean, basically, that's all it is. We talk about Project Linus, we talk about rules and things that we have to talk about, but for the most part, we're just having a big party, and it's a lot of fun.
You do that in Belton?
Yeah, we do it up by the airport, and we basically rent out the ballroom of a hotel, and everybody gets a hotel room, and we hang out for 4 or 5 days, and we have a good time. We make blankets, and we laugh, we play games, and we just have a good time. They are the other side of my family.
So I see that a lot of things that you have on your shelf there over the years. Do you actually raise any money?
With that stuff? No. We do have a limited use contract with Peanuts for use of Linus, but it's mostly for us to use for publicity and things like that. There's special rules that we have to follow. We don't use any of that for fundraising. That's just stuff that we obsessively buy. We shop at all these different places. Every antique store I pass, I go in and see if they have something that has Linus on it. And I have found some very interesting things from time to time. I have a wooden music box that has Linus carved on. And so it's really pretty, but we just buy everything that's Linus.
I imagine eBay has some treasures.
They do, absolutely. Yep. And you have to figure we've been collecting this stuff for 25 years. I mean, every time something new comes out, we buy it up. Peanuts could make a fortune on Project Linus alone. You see Snoopy everywhere, but if they produced more Linus, they'd sell more because we'd buy it.
Did you ever meet the creator?
I did not personally. Did he know about us? Yes.
Wow.
He gave permission for us to use the name. Yes.
Wow.
And his wife still supports us, and she is part of the Peanuts Incorporated. And actually, when we were renegotiating our contract this time, she said, yeah, you leave those people alone. They're good people, kind of thing. And so I actually have a letter from her on my desk that she wrote to somebody telling them all about us. So yeah, they do know about us.
That's wonderful. Well, we've so enjoyed speaking with you today.
Well, thank you.
We wish you the very best. And would you rip out that website one more time?
www.projectlinus.org.
Okay.
Please, anybody that's listening, volunteer to help the Project Linus.
Yes.
And you'd have a lot of fun.
And
your whole family could do it together. I mean,
absolutely.
It'd be a great thing to give your family like you've done.
And
we hope someone does.
And you can be a blanketeer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Just listening to the interview has provided some of the warmth and comfort that the blankets created by Project Linus provide. To find out how you can help Project Linus and even make your own blankets, check out www.projectlinus.org. That's www.projectlinus.org. Or go to zuzunetwork.com. That's zuzunetwork.com. A special thanks to today's guest, Patty Gregory. We'll be right back with closing thoughts.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory. Now here's Seth Kennedy with today's parting thoughts.
In Charlie Brown, Linus is never seen without his trusted blanket. Every child needs security, and quite literally, often a security blanket can provide just that. Patty Gregory knows that, and she didn't just keep that knowledge for herself. She started Project Linus and has provided the most vulnerable of children the love and security that a special blanket can offer. It's a labor of love that thousands have now joined her in. What's your labor of love? How can you extend your knowledge and your love for the betterment of mankind? Those are questions worth pondering, and when you find the answer, do what Patty did and materialize through action the thoughts of your heart. Until next time, I am Seth Kennedy, and you've been listening to Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you, and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out ZuzuNetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to ZuzuNetwork.com/transcripts.
This is an episode that we are broadcasting as well in near full length as a video podcast on Wonderful Living Media's streaming channel. But as always, you can also see video clips on our Instagram page, www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. And we also have links on our main website.
Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joelle.
Managing producer Karina Filatova. A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.